What's up, guys? It's your commissioner here speaking, and I'm excited to talk about the first month of the NFL season. Injuries have played a big part. Last year, I thought it was the worst season we've ever had for injuries, and somehow the first month it's projecting to be worse than last year. And I think maybe part of it is because it's very visible on certain teams that them missing a player, like if they had this player, they would have won. For example, Tony's team, Achan and Tyreek Hill missing Tua, it has cost him 2 wins because he's lost by 11 or fewer points in the last 2 weeks. And Tyreek Hill and Achan have failed to go on over double digits or to get into the double digits. So um, stuff like that. Sawara losing by 10 when if he just had McCaffrey, he would have won. Um, the There was another one I'm blanking on. Anyways, let's get into it on some of the teams with the better winning records. I'm going to be a little bit more critical of them because if you're 3-1, you lose five in a row, no, four in a row, you can still make the playoffs. If Jacob's 4-0, he can lose for a full-on month, and guess what? He'll be 500, and he might even still be in the playoffs. So sitting around and just kind of talking how much I love those teams, I feel like it's kind of not counterintuitive, but it's kind of boring. And conversely, the lower end teams, I'm going to try and just see like the paths for them to become playoff teams, potentially becoming amazing teams. And I guess, yeah, I'm not going to be too harsh on the top teams because they're doing well. I'm going to talk about their hypothetical ceiling, but as well as like what could potentially go wrong for this team because, yeah, they could be terrible for a month, and I could come back on this video and be like, yeah, they've had a terrible month, but they still got a good team. They were 4-0, they were 3-1, blah blah blah. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with all this, and let me share the screen. We're going to get into the standings first. Oh, no, that is my team. All right, so the first thing that I noticed with the standings is Tony being number one in points and being 1-3. Jacob having over 100 less points than Josh. 100 over 100 less points scored against him than Josh. And scoring four less points than Josh, but being 4-0 instead of 1-3. That's just kind of the name of the game sometimes. Josh and I were talking about like Apex scoring, how um if you win and you score at the average or above average of everyone else in the league that week, you get 2 points. Like let's say you lose, but you scored the average of the week of everyone playing that week, you get 1 point. So basically it kind of prevents this type of stuff. But where you can have a terrible team, not saying that Jacob has a terrible team, but you can have a terrible team, but if you get really lucky with everyone not doing well against you, you can be a playoff stud. But then we kind of talked about it. This is kind of part of fantasy. It's kind of like real life as well, where you can drop 30, the Packers can score 35 points and be a top three scorer in the league, but they face a team that scored 42 points. Well, you don't really get much benefit from that. This isn't soccer. That's all I'll say. That there's no we're not going to really do goal difference and all that because yeah, it's football. But I have thought about Apex scoring, and it's an interesting thought. Everything else I think is a little too early to talk about, like the playoff percentages as well as the records, the 3-1s and whatever. So let's just get into it here. Let's get into it. It's about time. We're getting into Jacob's team. The best part about Jacob's team, it's staying healthy. It's been the healthiest team out of all the teams. When your team stays healthy and you don't draft a bunch of busts, I mean, it's only been a month, but you don't draft a bunch of busts, chances are you're going to have a pretty decent team here. I know he's missed Debo for a week, but besides that, his team's been very healthy. That's good. Good for him. Nico Collins, even though he took him like what, 24th, 26th, something like that. And I think Nico Collins is a league winner. I mean, he's a very very, very good player. And really with him, Jamar Chase and Debo, I don't see a wide receiver core with as much upside, I like even comparable. I'm not really sure. The concerns I have with this team, because like I said, this team can go and lose for a month and it's still be in the playoffs, playoff running, is just the running back core, Travis Etienne, Aaron Jones, and Josh Jacobs. You can make some excuses. Jordan Love's been hurt for Josh Jacobs, so I could see why he's not doing so well. But for example, Aaron Jones, I was looking into it. He's running back 7 right now, averaging 18, over 18 points per game. He averaged over 18 points twice in 2019 and in 2020. Besides that, he's been under 15 points. I just I said it in the preseason video. When Aaron Jones plays, I think he's going to be great. I just when he misses 3+ games like the last like 4 years, and if he starts going down, we'll see. I don't want to speculate too much because he could be out for 2 games, and if he's around in the playoffs, and Jacob has a great team. But yeah, Travis Etienne, he's just not a workhorse anymore. The Jags are just terrible. He's just not really getting what you want. Where's the receiving? Yeah, not the best from his perspective. No, 2 touchdowns, and you're running back 27. That's scary for a guy you took, I think, in the second pick. Dalton Kincaid, the scary part about him is, and this is complete speculation, but when teams come out on the field and play, you draw up your plays. You have plays that, kind of like a 12 to 15, maybe 20 plays that you think will get you on the right track when you play a game. I know that's not speculation, but it always feels like Dalton Kincaid is in the game plan. They want to get him involved. But now once, the game takes on its own course, it has its own like new life. And now Dalton Kincaid, they're not scheming him open. They're just kind of whoever's open, Josh Allen will throw it to. All of a sudden he disappears because in the first quarter it seems like he gets 3 catches every game and then he just disappears. That's worrisome. He's gonna be better than those streaming tight ends, but I feel like that's a big question mark. The running backs and um is Caleb Williams gonna have like a second half, just like finally figures it out, and Rome Odunze becomes a stud because he had a great game already? Or is this going to be one, it's there's nothing wrong with the number 1 pick just having a bad rookie season. But if that's the case, then Rome Odunze at the flex isn't that flashy. But um Jackson Smith and Jigba, I still it's still early to really know about him. Where's the game log? Like yesterday, he had 12 targets, and you only get 51 yards on that. I mean, that's still good. For your second flex, you'll take that. But yeah, it's very weird. 2 targets, 16 targets, 3 targets, 12 targets. I really cannot. I don't really have much to comment on that, right? In terms of just if Roma Dunze and Jackson Smith and Jigba hit their ceilings, and really Aaron Jones just stays healthy, Josh Jacobs, he doesn't even need to be a workhorse. Travis Etienne can suck. This team will be a great team because I have no worries about Ja'Marr Chase. So, and what I mean great team is I don't see any team I don't think there's 4 teams better than this team right now. It's just the upside. Like over a 2 week span in the playoff, there's a couple of teams, if they're fully healthy, I would take over Jacobs' team. But yeah, I thought this is a good team before this season started. It's staying healthy. It's playing pretty well. Ja'Marr Chase hasn't even been playing that well, and I think he's like Jacobs like 5th in points for. He's only like 20 points behind first place. So you really can't. There's not really much you can poke holes in this team. Second team, Max Wellington. Um, my biggest worry about this team was Jaden Daniels, and now he's not a worry. He's really not a worry. I thought he was gonna be like a Justin Fields type guy. He's the number 1 quarterback right now, so that kind of takes away. Like, yeah, I wasn't into Calvin Ridley. I wasn't into um Raheem Mostert and Austin Eckler being old, and I wasn't into Jalen Warren. But you have when you have the number 1 quarterback, and it's looking like quarterback's gonna be another rough year. Passing is down. As long as you have a difference maker, and George Kittle, he's being a difference maker. He's the number 2 tight end, even though he missed a game. He missed a game, right? Yeah, he missed a game. So you got difference makers at the quarterback and tight end position. The problem is that Jonathan Taylor now has a mild high ankle sprain. I've never heard of that. What's a mild high ankle sprain? You're gonna play through that. You're gonna lose some explosiveness. George Kittle now has rib injuries after coming back from I want to say a hammy. Could be wrong. And now Mike Evans, who was questionable last week with the knee, but then played and had a great game. Now he's got a calf. Too much to speculate on right now with these kind of guys. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs on a bye. I think the X factor for this team is like Jonathan Taylor. Hopefully, it's just a weak injury, something like that. And he needs Tank Dell to get better, like just to be better, be the number two. I still have faith in him. Stefon Diggs is. We'll look through some of his stats. It's kind of fluky. It's a lot of like short area stuff. Had like a rushing touchdown. I think Tank Dell is a real like difference maker after Nico Collins on this team on the Texans. I think it's really just going to depend on health and Drake London. I could trash on the flexes, but really, there's no you can say that about a lot of teams. Like once you start getting into flexes, if you have great flexes, chances are your team's pretty good because otherwise you'd be benching your starter. You get what I'm saying. Um, And when I mean flexes, like I mean like the flexes he drafted for the start of the season, because Dontavian Wicks now I think will be amazing for the next 3 weeks. Jalen Tolbert, I don't know about that one. We'll see about that. And then Drake London, I have a lot of I think Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles, he'll improve. Just give him a little bit of time. It's a new offense in 2 months from now, no, excuse me, a month from now, Drake London, I don't think he's a bust at all. He's wide receiver 23, but I mean, you really can't argue with, I mean, the last 2 weeks now, it's been 12 targets and 9 targets. They're just not really getting in the end zone, and I think that'll change. So, yeah, I don't see the ceiling of maybe a Jacobs just because I think the flexes have issues and when a guy gets a high ankle sprain, it just really, I mean, I've had players with high ankles, but it just zapped them of all their explosiveness. But, this team's kind of like my team. I'm just thankful to be 3-1, honestly. So we'll come back to this team in a month. If it's 500, I wouldn't be surprised. If this team only lost two or three more time or like twice in the next month, I wouldn't be surprised because again, when you have like the number one tight end and you have like now the number two, no, excuse me, the number two tight end and you have the number one quarterback, you can afford for a flex to put up 5 points because if they're going to ball out, and obviously Gibbs and Taylor, even an injured Taylor, even an injured Evans, they're no slouches. So yeah, change my tune on this team a little bit because I mean Jaden Daniels, he's really surprised me. Next up, the 3-1 Gritty Gobbler Noah. Interesting team here. His flexes are already showing promise. That's really good. Namely Brian Thomas. Um, and Jameson Williams seems to be a hit. Jordan Addison came back from injury. What did he put up? Okay. Only 4 targets, but still 22.9 points. It's a pretty good secondary. So the worry about this team was Rachaad White, and now it is a worry. And I said Rachaad White and James Cook, namely. James Cook is a hit. He gets goal line touches. Rachaad White's is, analytics. Rachaad White, if you're one of those things like the eye test, you watch Rachaad White catch the ball. He's great in space and running routes. You watch him run, you're like, that guy should not be getting the ball 20 times. And sure enough, Bucky Irving is now a decent flex for Max because um, White's going to be a bust. White's going to be a bust, but you draft Brian Robinson, 73rd, and he's the running back 14. So I think there's just a lot of great picks. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I think you got Lamar Jackson probably 20 picks after Josh Allen, and he's a quarterback too. Brian Thomas is looking like a stud. Zay Flowers, there's a little bit of concern. The thing about this team really is because I feel like this video is already getting pretty long, is that Noah's 3-1 without Puka. That's really as simple as you can put it. Now, sure, he got lucky with Dallas Stewart dropping Dallas Goedert. I think there are AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are going to come back healthy from the bye. We'll see. We don't fully know how good Evan Ingram is. He had that one game and then he got hurt. But yeah, this is another team. if this team, Swift and White could be bad. I know Swift just had a 30 ball. I'm not convinced at all. But still, if White and Swift become unstartable, let's say hypothetically they become unstartable. When you're 3-1, if you can get Puka back, now they're saying Puka's gonna be out for another month, so it's gonna be a lot longer than IR. But if by week 8, Puka's in for Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas is at the flex, and Jameson Williams is his second flex, or Addison is his second flex. He can have a bad tight end. It doesn't matter. And really right now, who has an amazing tight end? It's kind of tough to say who has an elite difference maker. Um, yeah, good, pretty good team. Pretty good team. I would say that I would have this team over Max's right now and over the next team I'm about to talk about. And that is my team. The positives I can say about my team, and as a double-edged sword, is I don't really want my best uh time of the year to be the first month. I don't want to be going off in the first month. I just had my worst week, the lowest scoring week. But right now I got a lot of question marks. It's really been Malik Neighbors, number one wide receiver right now. Saquon is the number 2 running back. And after that, it's kind of a mess. Kyler Murray's the number 9. Besides his 31-point game, he hasn't gone over 16. Bijan, running back 20. Ramondre, running back 26. Ayuk, 62. T. Higgins, I don't even need to click it. He's wide receiver 90. Brock Bowers, think he's like tight end 3, and Jake Ferguson. I actually have great tight ends. But yeah, right now I'm just happy to be 3-1 because I do really like my upside. But the thing is it's already been capped. Ramondre Stevenson was supposed to be a bench fill-in. I'm sure I've told some of you guys this a bunch of times. My flexes were supposed to be T. Higgins and what's his face? Oh yeah, he's off my team. Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown is out for the season. And Jalen Waddle is unstartable with Tua out. And he's the earliest Tua can come back because they put him on IR, and bye week doesn't count for IR. The earliest he comes back is week 8. So I have another month of, okay, what's his face? Saquon's on bye. But I'm going to have another month of Ramondre in the flex, and either like Brock Bowers or hopefully Josh Downs. This is a sign of good things to come. Just had like a 20, what did he drop? Like 22, whatever. I like this upside. I'm not worried about Brandon Ayuk. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Neighbors. This is just kind of one of these teams where, like Max, but not as banged up, I guess, is that you tell me it could get bumpy. It could get pretty bumpy. I play Noah this week and without Saquon, and I got Bijan banged up a little. But so if this team's honestly it's going to rely on Nick Chubb now has to kind of be something for this team to get an upside, because even when Jalen Waddle comes back, T. Higgins and Ramondre at the flex, I don't know. It's not the best team. It's not the best, and the Falcons are gonna have to get better for Bijan to reach his full potential. But I don't really have worries at the tight end position, and I guess I'm just complaining a little too much, because really at the end of the day, if my team was fully healthy, my weakness is my second flex. So I guess I'll take it. It's not too bad, but there's definitely right now where at the beginning of the year, it's like where I was like week 2, I was like, ooh, my team, I'm loving it. Now it's like there's definitely some teams I gotta admit they're better than mine. They're straight up better than mine. Next up, the first one of the 2-2 teams, Hunter. Good news about Hunter. The running backs are doing their job. Derrick Henry and David Montgomery. I bet he has the most touchdowns amongst his 2 running backs. Rashid Shaheed is a hit. Rashid Shaheed is wide receiver 13 with a 0 on his sheet. And then on top of that, Zach Moss has been serviceable, and so is Khalil Shakir. And Ladd McConkey just had like a 17-point game. What's wrong with this team? The 2 difference makers, when I said I like this team, Patrick Mahomes is quarterback 16. Mark Andrews is tight end 39, and he took him 25th. So this team, to keep it short, it's like it's kind of gonna be in the mix. But this is a team. You tell me it's 2-5. Like, I don't know. Derrick Henry has one game where he doesn't score a touchdown. Amon-Ra has 15, and Rashid Shaheed doesn't catch a deep ball. Where's the rest of the points coming from this team? Because it's not coming from Mark Andrews and Patrick Mahomes. You look at this team right now. Oh, hold on. Yeah, if you look at the starting lineup right now, you're like, yeah, this is a beatable team. Okay, Amon-Ra's on bye. Assume Amon-Ra and David Montgomery aren't on bye right now, but hopefully DJ Moore, like Hunter needs the Bears or Caleb Williams to turn it around. That's really the X factor right here is DJ Moore. I don't care if Zach Moss falls off or Khalil Shakir, like there's a rotation of production in the Bills wide receiver core. It's really all about DJ Moore because if DJ Moore is going to keep being wide receiver 28, he's had scored 15 or more once, and it's like I'm pretty sure Indiana's like a bottom three secondary. Then you're relying on a boom bust Rashid Shaheed. I know he's wide receiver 13, but still, the Saints aren't looking as good as they were the first 2 weeks. And you got Amon-Ra. That's it at your receiving core. And the flexes, it's a lot of speculation. Devontae's a bust. I have him in my other league. He's a bust. Well, Christian Kirk actually had a good game, didn't he? Christian Kirk, there's some life with Christian Kirk. Yeah, there's some life after putting up 4.9 points, but Evan Ingram's coming back. So we'll see. So yeah, this is just one of those teams where it's like without complicating it too much, the quarterback and tight end, if this team doesn't make the playoffs, we're gonna be like, that's what screwed this team. And if this team makes the playoffs, it's gonna be like, yeah, Derrick Henry and David Montgomery are just um keeping this team alive with touchdowns. And then if Rashid Shaheed has a 20 points in the flex, like this team has a chance to beat anybody. So yeah, this is an interesting team. I like it. Next up, the other 2-2 team. David. So this team is a peculiar team. This is a team here where if Cooper Kupp and TJ Hawkinson comes back 80% of what he was, and uh Cooper Kupp, excuse me, isn't as hurt as Puka. That's what the reports are saying, that he'll be back in 2-3 weeks, I think after the bye, whenever that is. Um, I think this team might have the highest upside. The problem is there's a lot of underperformers and a lot of just that even I can't really explain. The Brees Hall, like I don't think he's gonna lose his all this work to Braylon Allen, but it is concerning. Like 10 carries for 4 yards, like that. When you take a guy that high, you need what I was saying in the preseason, you need Brees Hall to be a top three back because Najee Harris, after Najee Harris is the running back 31, you don't really have much depth after that because Chuba Hubbard, who's been balling, Jonathan Brooks is going to come back. Now, does that make him unstartable? No, but Chuba Hubbard, 27.9, 22.1, you're going to lose that production in the flex. Amari Cooper, maybe he gets traded. There's been some trade rumors. He's had that one blow up game. Other than that, he hasn't scored more than 8. So Terry McLaurin's doing well for him, but Garrett Wilson too. Like wide receiver 38, I have him in the league. Chris Olave, wide receiver 20. So there's just no besides Josh Allen, who actually had a single digit game, just had a single digit game. Besides Josh Allen, there's just some funkiness to this team that to be honest with you guys, we don't have enough time for me to just like try and speculate or like go like talk about what's going on with each player. This is just a team where I think it could be really, really good, and it's just about Hawkinson and Cooper Kupp. I think that's as simple as you can put it. Xavier Worthy, we'll see if that's I guess another X factor. Rashid Rice should be out for the season. There's no Marquise Brown. If Xavier Worthy is as good as advertised, then he should be. He's not. It doesn't matter if Chuba loses his role. Xavier Worthy should become an amazing flex. Other than that, maybe trade for a running back. I could see him ending up trading for a running back because I don't think he needs this many wide receivers, especially if when Cup comes back. Terry McLaurin, there's life. There's definitely life. Um, I'm still Terry McLaurin. I'm gonna say sell high about Terry McLaurin, but that's just because I'm a hater. That's because I'm a hater, and I think that he catches like the 4 for 100. That was like that 150-yard catch, and then this past week he scored a touchdown. But that's neither here nor there. This is actually a really good team. I actually have this team. I think I have this team in the Jacob and Noah. I think that's the tier right now for me personally. I think it's Jacob, Noah, and David in terms of teams where like in a 2 week span, who would I want to face the least? I think it's those three teams because yeah, there's a lot of upside here. There's just some funkiness going on. There are a lot of players that are just underperforming that I don't want to call. Like I'm not ready to call Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson busts. Just because like Olave's wide receiver 20. Like I'm not ready to call him a bust. Same thing with Amari Cooper and Cooper Kupp, who was killing it. He should be back. So yeah, interesting. Interesting. Another interesting team. There's a lot of interesting teams this year, as vague as that sounds. Next up, a guy that I feel bad for. Now, usually you ask me who would I least like to lose to, and it's Tony. It's probably Tony's up there, maybe Max, maybe Jacob. Those are the three that really grind my gears. Um, but it's just unfortunate that like I mean I'm seeing it with Waddle, like these guys that aren't hurt but you can't really like sitting Tyreek Hill. Like try sitting Tyreek Hill. Try sitting Devon Achane. For who? Cortland Sutton, Jerry Judy. Adam didn't have that touchdown game and then went straight to IR. Quentin Johnson was good for 2 games and then now he's heading into the bye. Kyle Pitts. I mean, do we have time for Kyle? I'm just at this point. I have him in 2 dynasty leagues. I just hope Kyle Pitts is kind of like a better version of David Njoku where tight ends historically are good later on in their career. He's 24. Maybe he just needs like David Njoku is a physical freak that really didn't pop off until he was like 27. I just don't get it. Somebody was trying to explain it. They were saying that Kyle Pitts, they just treat like defenses now treat him like a wide receiver. So they just put a corner on him and he's not good enough to beat it. When you put a corner on him, he's not really a mismatch anymore. Which leads me to believe I haven't really watched him much. Leads me to believe that maybe that knee injury affected him. I don't know. But that's tanking this team. That was part of the reason why I love this team. James Conner, he's gonna get hurt, so this team will get screwed. Jaden Reed is a stud muffin. Number 4, and now no Christian Watson. Sky's the limit for him. 2 games with Jordan Love. He has 33 and 27. So that's what's keeping this team alive. I mean, this is the most points scored. I think Stefon Diggs is a sell high. Just kind of weird stats like the 10 for 94 on 12 targets. They were down almost the entire game. And then where's the rushing? I don't know why this isn't showing rushing right now. All right, how about just trust me, bro? How about just trust me, bro? You know what? I don't really feel like diving into why I think Stefon Diggs is a sell high. I'm not saying that Tony's going to trade, but I just think that he's going to go downhill, not completely become useless, obviously. But Jalen Hurts is being boo boo, but his two starting like his two starting weapons, but his two best weapons are hurt besides Saquon, like in the passing game. So I don't really know where to go with this team. At the beginning of the year, I said this team, 1 or 2 injuries. I could see this team being 5-0 and then being 5-5. And right now, it's looking like the 0-5 part or the 1-5 part starting out first. When Tua comes back, which will be week 8, and maybe the Falcons get better and Kyle Pitts figures it out. If the rest of this team can stay healthy, yes, I think this team can 100% go on a run. This is one of those teams that I'm pretty scared about. I would put it into the Noah, David, Jacob tier, except for the fact that week 8 is like a month away from now. So it's kind of hard for me to be like, oh, yeah, watch out for this team. Just give it 1 month and it'll start going off. But it's already going off. It's number one in points. So I guess I should probably put it in that group, but I'm not because Tyreek Hill and Achane are kind of sinking his team. And Kyron, I was wrong about him, especially with the passing guys. With Puka and Cooper Cup out, I thought that defenses would key in on him. I don't know if his schedule has been really easy. Actually, let me check. That's why I clicked on him. No, Detroit's not an easy schedule, not an easy run defense. Neither is San Fran or Chicago. So yeah, he's just balling out. So ended up being a great pick. Took him 18th. That's a pretty good pick. Pretty good pick. All right, moving on. Moving on to another 1-3 team that I think should be better than this. But I guess I'm liking all the teams at the top. This, even though this is not wearing the 1-3, so I don't really want to say that I like this team more than other teams. Or no, excuse me. I'm saying like this, this team and Tony's team should be higher up, but those teams are still pretty good at the top. I might need to get that edited out. I was just kind of blabbering, but bad luck in the injury. You lose Rashee Rice, Mixon. I don't know if he's going to be back. Devontae Smith, he's just got a bye. It's a concussion, but he's losing players left and right here. Sam Laporta. Whew, I mean, this year probably will be remembered as the tight end bust year, where 3 tight ends were taken in the top 25. One of them is like tight end 50 or something like that in Mark Andrews. And Laporta is tight end 15 with no double digit games. And Travis Kelce is tight end 12 with, I mean, finally he had a game. So there's life. I'm glad I waited another week to talk about, to make this video because this team, if Kelce came out with another like 6-point game, sheesh. Um, I think he can survive without Rashee Rice. He needs Joe Mixon to come back. I'm still undecided if we don't know yet how good Joe Mixon is going to be on this team. He came out with, now we know that Indianapolis is one of the worst run defenses. I think it is the worst run defense. Excuse me, them or the Raiders. So that 26.8 game doesn't look as flashy anymore. And then he got hurt in the second game. So I don't really know how good he is. I do know Calvin Kamara is freaking sick. Okay, he's the number 1 running back right now. Does he break down? I don't know. I do love Kamara, and I regret not going for him. I was just really worried about the offensive line, but they just want to pepper him. He looks like better than ever. I don't know if he got a new workout routine or whatever, but he does give me a little bit of Aaron Jones vibes where at their age now, like 29, can you really, like Aaron Jones now is getting 25 opportunities, 25 plus, yeah, 25 opportunities a game. And he was getting hurt when the Packers were giving him like 15, 16 opportunities. And same thing with Kamara, they're giving him like they're rushing him 26 times. And on top of that, like he's getting like 30 opportunities some games. And it's only been a month. And he was questionable this past game. So that's a worry. I think Tony Pollard, I don't know if Tony Pollard keeps the job all year. Um, This is a team where honestly, if it was 3-1, I would kind of be like, I'd put it in me and the Max in my territory where okay, his team is definitely more banged up than our teams. But I put him and be like, hey man, just be thankful you're 3-1. At 1-3, it's kind of bull crap. Yeah, he kind of got screwed and I think he's just at the mercy of who he plays now, really. I think I have not really looked at all the buys, but I think he's just at the mercy of who he plays. And hopefully Kelce will do something for him. I think he's going to have to work the waivers because I don't think Allen Lazard should be started. Um, Watson hurt again. Come on, man. Come on, Waddy. Waddy make Christiana. Next. Now we're getting to the bottom. We're getting to the barrel. We're getting to the Suarez probably heard this a bunch of times from me, but if he picked up Jordan Mason, he would have Jordan Mason. That 1 week where Christian McCaffrey was questionable, and then if you put Jordan Mason in, he would have beat me. Had he not dropped Dallas Goedert, he would have beat like his week 3 opponent. Yeah, this team should be 3-1. Davante Adams, he's week to week with a hamstring injury, but hey, if he gets traded, Hoochie Mama, that's great. Deontay Johnson, new life now. I mean, wheels up for Deontay Johnson. Wheels up. I have him in my other league. He has 27 targets in 2 games. Yeah, that basically. I'm kind of getting into this team. I think this team now with this 1-3, there's a path for this team. There's definitely a path for this team. I like the players. I did like this team at the beginning of the year. I think I put him like smack like in the middle. Uh I love Kenneth Walker. I've been trying to trade for him in a bunch of leagues. Marvin Harrison, after that week 1 scare, he's balling out. But you take away Davante Adams. Okay, Chris Godwin is a good pick. Actually, hold on. Yeah, he can survive with Davante Adams being out if Deontay Johnson's going to play it this way. Because Marvin Harrison, Deontay Johnson, and Chris Godwin, that's a great wide receiver core. And I would take Pickens at the flex. Now, I don't know who's going to play at his other flex. I don't know. Anthony Richardson, maybe it's a godsend to let him sit behind Flacco a little while he recovers. It's not supposed to be a serious injury, but I mean, come on now. 20 points total in the last 3 games. Can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. But he's got love because Alejandro gifted him love. So McCaffrey's really screwed this team. There's rumors that why would you fly to Germany to get a second opinion or just another opinion on your tendonitis? There's another report that he has tendonitis in of his both of his legs. And then there's another report that he's getting stem cells, which apparently it takes over at least a month for that to start working. So I've heard like the next timeline or like the earliest he might come in is week 9. I just don't know. I don't know. I've never been in this situation before, so I can't really give him advice to go and move Christian McCaffrey. What is the market? I don't know how other people really feel about this type of guy. If someone like Jacob being 4-0, if he would go take a bite, or Noah, I'm not really sure. But I do know at 1-3, I did see that um he's facing I can't remember. He's got two games coming up with good buys where he's facing people with where they have way worse buys than he does. So he could be 3-3. There's some life for this team. There's some upside. It's just going to be a struggle. He's probably going to need like injuries to the other teams. I mean, that's the reality, or to trade McCaffrey. Or hope that Nick Chubb doesn't come back. And then I mean, his practice window just came up, so yeah, he might need a little bit of Jerome Ford. So yeah, kind of unfortunate. Should probably be 3-1. That really McCaffrey, honestly, not many teams will escape a McCaffrey if he doesn't come back until week 9. Not many teams survive that, but at least there's a little hope. Unlike this next team, man, he knows it's done. I think it's done. When you have listen, this is very simple. When you have as many injuries as Alejandro's had, on top of the bad picks he's made, on top of the lack of waiver wire heroes, even though Jordan Mason's been the best, he has the best waiver wire pickup, you get Alejandro's team, really. I mean, Pacheco, he's got this apparently it's a tightrope surgery, which is what Mark Andrews and Tony Pollard had. And look at how Tony Pollard was last year. Look at how Mark Andrews has been so far. So I have no faith in Pacheco. Zamir White at pick 55 is probably going to go down. Him, Rachaad White, Michael Pittman. Like he has 2 of the top 5 probably worst picks once the season's done. Actually, we'll see. We'll see on Michael Pittman because he was actually balling even before Richardson got hurt, like this past game. But like there is faith. It's just like the upside is not enough for me to go to love this team when you're 0-4. I mean, the receiving core being Michael Pittman, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. It's pretty good. It's not top 3. The running back core being like, let's say Chase Brown takes over the backfield because he balled out this past game, And um what's his face is out. McCaffrey's out for like week 9, week 10. Chase Brown and Jordan Mason. That's a good running back pair. It's not elite. It's not the top 3 or 4 in the league. So I mean, this guy, he's gonna need like a Keon Coleman all of a sudden like figures it out and is like a top 15 wide receiver. He's gonna need Jonathan Brooks to come in here, who they're not even. Nick Chubb is apparently farther ahead in his injury recovery time than Jonathan Brooks. So it doesn't seem like Jonathan Brooks is coming in and just becoming the workhorse anytime soon. He's gonna need like Brees Hall to get hurt and Zach Moss to get hurt and have Chase Brown and Braylon Allen. And he's going to have to get some lucky with some points against. And he's going to need Trey McBride. I mean, I have a lot of faith in Trey McBride, but he's going to need Trey McBride to start like have a couple 20-point games. Because yeah, I mean Xavier Legette looks promising, had a good game. Jordan Whittington has some promise, but it's just the point of you drop Jordan Love, there goes your upside at QB really at 0-4. Um, Maybe you guys might be thinking I'm talking too much about an 0-4 team, but just in case this team just goes into purgatory or just kind of dissolves like halfway through the season, I wanted to look at some of his players. But really, at the end of the day, after 1 month, can any of you guys say like what's a good pick? You take the injuries aside. Even with injury, I'm honestly saying AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. I think he's made 2 good picks, and Trey McBride's up in the air. So that's really that. Uh, I don't know how long this video's been. I'll be talking to you guys in, uh-oh. Oh yeah, I'll be talking to you guys in like next 3 weeks. Hopefully the injuries kind of sort themselves out, chill out. We get a lot more normal games here. I feel like there's been a lot of games that have just been decided by, oh, this guy's dude is hurt. And hopefully my team improves a little bit. 3-1. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a fraud. My team's kind of a fraud. Is your team a fraud? How you feeling about your team? This is around the time where you start thinking of is this guy gonna hurt me more than I think he's hurting me right now? Meaning, is this guy just surviving on touchdowns? Should I blow up the team early? You guys know what I'm talking about. Now's the time to start thinking about that regarding your teams. Um, that's it from me. Hope you guys are all doing well. You guys have a great week, get great weekend. Kiss your mama or your father, and good night.